What's up? This is the Derek Smith Spiel weekly sports update, August 4th through 10th. This might be my last one in a while. I'm headed up to college on the 18th, so this might be my last weekly sports update. I'm going to try to keep the podcast going, but I'm going to college for sports media. I'm going to learn a lot more about, obviously, how to orate, how to present information, maybe I can increase my vocabulary, cut out some of the ums and ahs, get better at public speaking. Going to learn a lot, but you bet I'll bring it back to this podcast at some point. The Derek Smith Spiel and Studio 78 will live on. But you're not here for that. You're not here for the legacy of this podcast. You're here for your weekly sports update, starting off, as always, in the NFL. Start with a really interesting article I read. It was in Sports Illustrated. I can't remember which issue. But it told you how the NFL schedule was made. So how is the NFL schedule made? Basically, first of all, there's certain givens. For example, you know that every team will have 6 division games. That's 2 against each other team in the division. Then there are 4 games that are against each team from a division in the other conference. So, given that information, there are 10 games that are automatically locked in theory. But how do they find when to have each game? How do they decide the other 7 games? Well, that used to be a very long process using chalk, dry erase boards, pad and paper, but thanks to the advancements in technology, all the brainstorming and simulations can be coded and done on computer. It is all automated. It's coded into an Amazon server, and then the computer makes 7,000 possible NFL schedules for the 272 total game season. There are 7,000 potential schedules that all of these NFL nerds, for lack of an official title, have to sort through and decide which one of these 7,000 possible schedules will work the best. And from there, they just narrow it down. They take the 151 best possible schedules and they take a deep dive look at those. Then they narrow it all the way down to 1. This year, the biggest issue in the scheduling was the Billy Joel Tour. He made scheduling a little more difficult because he plans to hit 4 NFL stadiums on Saturday nights. And there's a lot that the stadium has to do to clean up after a concert and get ready for a football game the very next day. You've got to make sure the stadium, more specifically the field, is in good shape and ready for players to play on. Nothing that they could trip on or possibly injure themselves on, or that could change a game. So the Billy Joel Tour, Billy Joel, Piano Man, making it difficult on the NFL. Some important notes, interesting notes from the article. The Chiefs are playing 5 primetime games in their first 8 weeks. That means late nights, disrupted sleep schedules, less time to recover. The Chiefs' first half of the year is very difficult on them. Not even just because who they're playing, but because of their schedule and the primetime game feel and energy and not a full week's break sometimes. None of the 3 teams with the most primetime games last year made the playoffs. And the Chiefs have 5 in the first 8 weeks. Does that mean the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs? Probably not. I doubt it. They're probably going to beat the Bills in the AFC Championship round as always. But it's at least cool to have that narrative and have the hope that the Chiefs aren't going to dominate yet another year. Another thing is the Eagles have no consecutive home games. So this year, there's no home stretch. There's no such thing as a home stretch for them because they get 1 week back home training in their own facilities, maybe at their own houses, apartments, whatever. And the very next week, they're back to traveling. That is annoying. So the two teams that kind of got shafted on the automated schedule are the Chiefs and the Eagles. But given how they were so dominant last year, it kind of evens out. The Chargers are re-signing Keenan Allen to a one-year $8.52 million deal. Keenan Allen could reach 1,000 receptions in his career at the end of this year. He is currently at 974. That means if he stays healthy all season and he's in all 17 games, he needs 8 games with 1 reception and 9 games with 2 receptions. That's very doable for Keenan Allen. Very attainable, especially because of the fact that catching passes has never been a problem for him. He was the fastest receiver to receive 900 passes. It only took him 139 games. That is just over 6 receptions a game. Allen also has the most games with 11 plus receptions, 16. The most games with 12 plus receptions, 12. 13 plus receptions, 8. And the most games with 14 plus receptions with 6 games. It's great to see Keenan Allen back at his first team where he made quite an impact. Allen is the Chargers' best wide receiver, and there's seemingly no doubt about it. He has the most receptions and receiving yards as a Charger. He is currently free in most fantasy leagues, so you might want to keep an eye on him. Keenan Allen back in LA with Justin Herbert as quarterback. Keep an eye out for Keenan Allen. He might be a good waiver wire pickup. And a fun fact from the NFL, the Green Bay Packers have never won a game in Buffalo. And if there is one team as a Lions fan that I dislike more than Buffalo, it is the Green Bay Packers. So that's just wild. They haven't had many chances in Buffalo, I'll give them that, but still, love to see it. On to the MLB. Do coaches need to monitor their players' screen time? Rangers manager Bruce Bochy said that his players are on iPads so much, dissecting their swing, reviewing pitchers' pitches, and fact-checking an umpire's call that they barely even watch the game. He said that the iPads are very handy and should be utilized, but they are used way too much. It takes away from the players watching the game and getting the real look and feel of playing. It got so bad that the Rangers manager Bruce elected to take the iPads away. Multiple teams have made this decision as well. After the Rangers took their team's iPads away, the team erupted for a 15-run night. They thought their problem was solved, that they fixed their team's cold bats, but the next 2 games they scored a combined 1 run, so the coaches broke and gave the iPad access back because they didn't want to take anything away that could help their team. And man, it's kind of a bad look. That's like when you're a parent and I would assume I'm 18 years old and don't have a kid, but that would kind of be like if you're a parent. Let's say you're like, this happened a lot at my house. Let's say you're a mom and you tell your kids like, no, you can't do whatever. Then your kids go and ask dad, and he's like, oh yeah, no problem. And your kids are like, oh, dad said yes. So then eventually mom's like, okay, yeah, you can do it. But it's like the kids won. That's what it was like in the Rangers dugout. The kids won. They got their iPod back. But another common issue the coaches have with the iPads is not only the fact players don't watch the game, but it makes their players overanalyze instead of just reacting. It makes them overthink, and in baseball, there is no time to think. If you have any thought slowing your reaction by decimals of a second, you will get out. That's all it takes in baseball. iPads slow the fastest game down for better and for worse. In Boston, the Red Sox signed Roman Anthony to an 8-year, $130 million extension. The 21-year-old and the number 1 prospect made his MLB debut June 9th and has been hitting .283 with a .400 on-base percentage and a .428 slugging percentage in his very solid rookie year. Very solid sells him short in his phenomenal rookie year. Not only is he hitting for average and seeing the ball well, but he also has pop in his bat. He only has 2 home runs, but still a .428 slugging percentage. And there's potential to be unleashed. He's 21 years old. He's not done growing. Look at the difference in Aaron Judge when he was 21 years old and now that he's, what is he now, 30, 32? They're a huge difference. Look at Aaron Judge's rookie pictures to now. A ton of muscle mass. And even more pop. Roman Anthony, more power is coming. And man, if he keeps that average up and the way he sees the ball, getting on base for 40% of the time, unbelievable. The deal will keep the projected future MVP in Boston until he is 30 years old, as long as both parties stay committed. And when you get a young talent that sure to stay in on your team and your franchise for that long, for really not a whole lot of money, like $130 million to a normal person is a ton. I would take that and probably with the guarantees live off that for the rest of my life. But when you look at what Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto, and other franchise players are making, $130 million is a steal for such a promising young talent, and staying until he's 30 years old, right into his prime. Then they'll have to really hand out some money. But for right now, the Red Sox are set with their future talent. On to the UFC. After 5 years, Charles Duprox Oliveira is back in Brazil. Charles is set to face Rafael Fiziev October 11th as the main event on UFC Fight Night. This is Charles' first time fighting in Brazil since 2020, and his first time fighting in front of a Brazilian crowd since 2019, obviously because 2020 was COVID year and there was no crowd in the UFC. It made punches sound even more gruesome. But Charles is very excited to put on a show in front of his home fans. His opposition, Rafael, will be looking to spoil the homecoming event and get back into the win column. Rafael is 2-3 in his last 5 fights and is looking to get a win over a very high-profile fighter like Charles Oliveira to get back into the hunt for a bout. And looking at it, Charles Oliveira just came off, it was a very one-sided affair, but he still came off of just fighting for the title. Even though he was knocked out in the first round, he is still a top guy. So for Rafael to take down Charles Oliveira, not only a legend, one of the best of all time, but just still a top contender, it would do great things for Rafael's career. Khamzat Chimaev said that he prioritizes making money over winning a bout. This news came to me through an amazing MMA podcast, Good Guy, Bad Guy, with Daniel Cormier, the good guy, and Chael Sonnen, the bad guy. I highly suggest any MMA UFC fan to listen to that podcast. It's great stuff, very entertaining, funny, a ton of information. It's just amazing. But on there, they explained that Khamzat Chimaev, he said his main goal is to make money for his family and be well off. He said that if he told everyone the belt was important, he would be lying. Now, DC, Daniel Cormier, he said this makes Khamzat Chimaev even more scary because it means most people in the UFC are working towards the belt. That's their main goal. Their main goal is to win the belt and be regarded as the best in the world. But Khamzat Chimaev, he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care how he's regarded. He doesn't care about being the best in the world. He wants to fight for money. He chose the career path to fight for money. He doesn't care who he's fighting. As long as it brings him home a paycheck and he can fight, he's happy. And Daniel Cormier said, when you're in there with a guy who has nothing to lose and is just fighting for enjoyment and money, those are the scariest guys to fight against. And then, I mean, just look at Khamzat Chimaev. He's an absolute monster. It'll be interesting to see how this mindset looks against the unorthodox Dricus du Plessis. DDP is the only guy who called out Khamzat to fight. No one else has. And that is not just because of Khamzat's struggles with health and visa. That is because Khamzat, his last fight, he broke Robert Whittaker's jaw in a chokehold. That's the guy, this is the same guy we're talking about. Khamzat Chimaev is an animal, and he even has the mindset of one. But to wrap up this weekly sports update, going to do something a little different. I'm going to review a movie, a sports movie, Happy Gilmore 2. I did golf senior year. I enjoy golf. Don't follow it too closely, but I like getting out and golfing more for the social aspect than anything. And I do like Adam Sandler. I think he's obviously really funny. Some of his movies I do think are overrated, but Happy Gilmore is hilarious. I loved the first Happy Gilmore. Billy Madison. Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison to me are the two best Adam Sandler movies. I also love Big Daddy. I just want to preface this review with I do like Adam Sandler. I love him. He's hilarious. But Happy Gilmore 2, I would not suggest anyone to watch this movie. Unless maybe you're a fan. If you're like a hardcore fan of Dude Perfect, I could see you liking this movie because it is so extreme and there are so many random cameos and there's such a lack of like real feeling that you might be really entertained by this movie. And no disrespect towards anyone who likes this movie or likes Dude Perfect. That just popped into my head. It's so crazy. It seems like if Dude Perfect made a movie, this would be it. With like just the random panda guy they have and the rage monster. It's absolutely ridiculous. It was so extreme. You just ask why. You're watching this movie and you're like, why? Like the first one was so amazing. And this, like, not only does it seem like a stretch, like, how do you make a Happy Gilmore 2? The first one wrapped up, it's over. There's, like, no more story to tell. Not many more jokes to make about golf. Now they're throwing every single celebrity at you who's famous right now, throwing them into one movie with these just, oh my God, it baffled me. Because I'm speechless. That movie made me speechless because, oh my. Yeah, that's Happy Gilmore 2. It should not even have the name Happy Gilmore in it. They should have came up with a different name because the original Happy Gilmore was so amazing. Do not call this sequel. Don't even put the same name in it. Don't associate it with the greatness that Happy Gilmore was. They should just call it Extreme Golf. And then maybe in tiny font, like the sequel to Happy Gilmore. Maybe. So yeah, that's this week's weekly sports update. I highly suggest watching Happy Gilmore. Stay away from Happy Gilmore 2. Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by yours truly, Derek Smith, with help from the voice memos and Spotify Podcasters app. For more content like this, you can continue listening to the Derek Smith Spiel on Spotify or you can listen on my YouTube channel at Derek Smith Stock 13. There you'll find my podcast and sports betting videos on top of that. If you're a fan of my sports betting videos, you can also see highlights of those on my TikTok account. You can find that by searching at SmithStock5 again on TikTok. Enjoy collecting cards? If so, check out my Collects account at Derek Smith Stock to get deals on quality cards. For updates on everything I mentioned, follow my Instagram account. You can find that by searching Derek Smith Stock 13 on Instagram. Not interested in sports? Then go to YouTube and watch Dylan Smith Outdoors YouTube channel. Search Dylan Smith Outdoors, where there are plenty of outdoor content videos, including hunting, catching, trail cam and tree stand setup, cooking, and plenty of laughs in between. Need your lawn sprayed? Whether it's weeds or insects, Greenwood Ecologics has you covered. If you need help making your lawn greener than your neighbors, call Greenwood Ecologics at 585-739-1610. I repeat, 585-739-1610. Finally, thank you for listening to this production of the Derek Smith Spiel. Every view or listener is appreciated. I'll catch you later.